This clip is from the Boundary Riders podcast, and if you do enjoy this, then make sure to check out the full episode out every single Wednesday morning on YouTube and Spotify.
Let's move on. We'll talk a little bit of trade updates over the last couple of weeks. We do, of course, talk about it on the main show on the main channel. With trade updates every single week. But what I will try to do, I think, in the podcast is I'll try to come to you and ask, like, instead of just talking about the trade rumors themselves, maybe talk about like the worth of a trade, or what players could be traded for, or some, maybe some new ones that just came out. So, first of all, I want to talk about Zach Butters. Now, unfortunately for Port fans out there, including yourself, kind of resigned to the fact he's going.
Yeah, we didn't.
Have you started to believe that yet, or are you still in denial?
No, I'm pretty confident he's going to leave. Oh. But, he's come out this week after his injury, and he's been like, I can get back. I want to basically get there before the end of the season. I'm like, I don't think that's possible with what the injury looks like.
So if he comes back in round 24 against Essendon, do you think that's
that's an away game anyway?
Yeah. Do you think Port fans are going to be like, oh, thanks for coming back for his Zach? Do you think that people should be talking about a farewell game for a guy that's, it's not like he's Travis Boak?
Yeah, I don't think so. I know what he has done is put his heart and soul into playing for Port Adelaide all season. He's captained the side in very odd situation in his last year of his contract.
Yeah, it's there. When everyone kind of believes.
When everyone thinks he's going, so it is commendable to the player, but he's a player that hasn't got a lot of, he's still a young player.
He's coming into the prime of his career.
He's coming into the prime of his career. He's not at the end of his career.
Yeah.
It's not like, as you said, Travis Boak.
Yeah.
So
he's not going to be seen as a club grade. I mean, he will probably be seen as like a Port Adelaide, like a great AFL player for Port Adelaide, but he's not going to be seen as the greatest Port Adelaide player of all time.
No.
I wouldn't say that.
No, not when you're doing that now and leaving when you've still got 10 years in your career.
Yeah, it probably does. Yeah. Now, I've heard this over the week. Now, of course, the team that he's been linked to is the Western Bulldogs. It's like one of the big clubs. If the Western Bulldogs were to offer a first-round pick plus Tim English, what would you think of that trade?
And just straight swap for Butters, still light.
Light.
Because he will be all Australian, he will be best and fairest, and he will be a top 5 Brownlow medalist this year.
Okay.
I think what would you pick? At least another pick would suffice. I wouldn't say it. I don't believe it needs to be a first rounder, but it needs to be. But based on if it's the Dogs, it probably will have to be, because the fact is that they are where they are. They're going to always be middle tier. So if that's a second rounder, it's going to be a pick in the late mid-30s, and that's not a good pick. That's not a pick.
How the Boak trade?
It'll be a mid to late third. It'll be a mid to late 30 pick.
Yeah,
and that's not good enough. So I would say it still needs to be 2 first rounders in English.
If there's Bulldogs players right now you're looking at, now obviously you got to probably take out Norton, Darcy.
I don't. Yeah.
What Bulldogs players would you be looking at realistically?
I think you can look at some homegrown. Like, you've got Bailey Williams. I know that they've thrown that one up a few times. He might want to come home, but then you got to look at, the stuff that's going to help us in the future. Their defense, I wouldn't touch with. That's like touching North Melbourne's defenders. I wouldn't touch it, or Essendon's defenders. Wouldn't touch any of them.
Oh, come on, Ben Mackay's valuable.
Yeah, valuable in the VFL team that they played on the weekend.
I think he had 2 touches at the VFL on the weekend too.
Yeah. So you look at more their midfielders, the more X-factor midfielders they have, or spark players, and you look at their forward line. But you're not going to get as you said, you're not looking at Norton, you're not looking at Darcy. Yeah, you're not looking at their smalls.
Richards isn't going.
No, Richards isn't going.
Darcy's not going.
So you look at someone like Sanders, who the Crows looked at last season. See if he wants to come out, because he's always been linked to Tassie. So see if he wants to maybe leave, and to see if he wants another fresh start in Adelaide. I don't know.
He'd probably be named. I mean, you could give him the talk of like, you could be our next star.
Yeah. I don't know. There's maybe even a Riley West, who has really been down on form this year. Yeah. Even without Wayman in the team, that he's just hasn't really found the form he had last season. So see if you just got to put out some feelers. Yeah. But you need to find things that will strengthen up your team at the moment.
Yeah. Now, obviously, they can't replace Zach Butters. I mean, I don't think anyone's really going to assume that's what Port Adelaide are going to get, unfortunately. But they do need to try and look at a player that... I mean, we look at like Geelong with Dangerfield. When they got the trade back, I think they got a couple of first rounders and then got Dean Gore or something. So unfortunately, you're never going to get back what you want in a trade like that. But Port Adelaide are going to have to work pretty creatively to try and get a deal done for something that's Zach Butter's sort of worth. I would probably say 2 first rounders and Tim English would probably push the needle to getting done. But also, I think Jordan Sweet's had a very good year. I don't think that Port Adelaide's issue is really a ruckman. I think that they just lack a lot of X factor, and their key defensive stocks are poor. And unfortunately, the Bulldogs don't have. I mean, they have a few X factor players, but I don't think they're leaving to Port Adelaide, and their defenders not worth it to try and get in. I mean, they're not gonna help Port Adelaide much in any way. And I mean, we do look at Port Adelaide's list, even though we have said their defenders are, they're not the best. Port Adelaide's, they've still got one of the best defensive teams in the competition in terms of statistics, saying that they've got one of the better teams at not conceding points this year. So if they can find a defender to help them out, they desperately need to be looking at Charlie Ballard and Miles. But we'll see how that plays out. Even Nick Murray was talked recently in the latest Gettable episode as maybe Port Adelaide could potentially target him from the Crows. What do you think about that idea?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind it. Or James Wallace, who's been in and out of the Crows team.
His dad was a former Port Adelaide player, I think.
Yeah.
Port Magpies.
So, yeah.
He could be a good shout. Now, Ben King, he's been big talking point, been linked to Hawthorn. Jed Walter recently, I think today, re-signed.
Yeah.
What do you think? Because all talk is that now he wants to go to Hawthorn. Gold Coast is probably going to match the offer for him, so it would be pushed to a trade, unless somehow he gets through to the pre-season draft. Which, I mean, if that's the case, surely an AFL team, no matter what, would push him to try and get him in.
Surely, Essendon. Surely. I know that they say that they, but all you have to do is be able to match the salary. And Essendon, who are they paying?
Yeah.
They won't be paying Merritt. Well, actually, they might be, depending on the actual part of it.
Yeah.
He's got a few years less on the contract, but I think
he's not even a free agent, so they can just he can just keep doing his contract.
Yeah, so they've got a shit ton of it. So there's no way that if Ben King's on the table, if you're in Essendon, you grab him. But yeah.
So Hawthorn have been linked to Zach Merritt. They've been linked to Ben King. How do you get both those deals done? In my eyes, I struggle to see how they get both of them done.
I don't think if like you had to choose between either or, you'd probably say King, to be honest,
just on age,
because of age. And let's be honest, Gunston, yes, he's doing what he's doing at his age, but he's not there forever.
Surely he can't go forever.
Yeah, but it's the thing is, like I said, Hawthorn do have nearly every line covered. To be honest, they've got enough.
I guess is their midfield, which is like a bit skinny.
But yeah, if you've got the youth coming through of even Ginnivan going through their McDonald and all that, so you still got a bit of spark in there. But I still think you go King, because in a way he does play the Gunston sort of role. Stays in the forward line, he doesn't move.
Yeah, stays there and
he kicks straight. So I think you'd go King. But it would still be first round. Like there's no way you can't. He is.
Well, it's going to be multiple first round picks, which they kind of got out last year.
Yeah.
If I'm Hawthorn though, and if I'm the Gold Coast and Ben King's wants to get traded, you look at the Zach Merritt deal and you think 3 first rounders for a guy who was 30 years old.
Yeah.
Okay, that's our starting point.
Yeah.
If I'm the Gold Coast, that's our starting point.
Yeah.
And plus a player, which is kind of like, because I think they offered up Henry Huswaite. So you're offering up 3 first rounders plus Henry Huswaite. I mean, I know he's only a VFL graded player most of the time, but that's your starting point for the Gold Coast. How do they get that done? And at the moment, they have to get Zach Merritt. They don't have first round picks at their disposal. Like, they don't have that many Hawthorn. So you think they're going to have to get creative and get some players out. I just don't think Hawthorn can get both of those done.
No.
So
I think it's very hard these days with the new system that they're trying to implement the AFL and draft points and all that. And not that Hawthorn care about all of that, but Gold Coast do.
Yeah. And
in a way, like I said, that they could get future picks, future first rounders from Hawthorn, and that will help get the academy to cross the line in the next few years, which they probably have. But yeah, as you said, what sort of players are you gonna want to bring in who want to go to Gold Coast and all that sort of stuff?
Yeah, I couldn't see many players wanting to go to the Gold Coast.
Unless for lifestyle, really, because...
Yeah, I mean, maybe you could make the point of getting more game time.
Yeah, so...
But if they can't make the VFL team for Hawthorn, I mean, yes, the Gold Coast haven't done great this season, but
They have a lot of
great talent.
Yeah.
So it's not going to be like, let's say there's Henry Housewaite. Is he making the team for the Gold Coast next year, round one, if he gets to the Gold Coast? I don't think so.
No, he's basically going from the Hawthorn VFL team to the Suns VFL team.
Yeah.
So it's not changing much for him. Like, even it's a system that it's interesting how that one would get done, to be honest.
Yeah. And does that mean as well, maybe Hawthorn just say, okay, well, we need help in the midfield now. Let's get Zach Merritt.
Yeah.
At least we know we got enough to probably get that deal done.
Mm.
And Essendon, I think, have to. I looking back at it now, obviously, hindsight's 2020 and all that sort of stuff, but Essendon mucked that up. They had to accept that offer late in the period to get rid of Zach Merritt. Like, honestly, put him in the team this year.
Well, what the fuck's the coach is Solomon doing with him now? You know,
had a shocker against Brisbane.
Mm.
I mean, obviously it was against Brisbane, but come on. I think he had like 11 touches.
Yeah.
Did absolutely nothing. And the guy's supposed to be one of the leaders of the club. He's checked out. Let's be like, you get rid of him last year. Are they in a? They wouldn't be in a better position with him with him out of the team. Yeah. They're in the worst position they are now.
Yeah.
So I think that was a huge misplay from the Bombers. Again, obviously in hindsight, at the time everyone was like, "Oh, well done for Essendon to standing strong." But now you look at it and you're like, "What the fuck were they thinking?"
Yeah.
Because they weren't going to do anything better this year.
And somehow they've kept him and they've done worse.
Yeah, they've done worse. They're bottom of the ladder and they're probably destined to finish there, in my eyes. Now, Brian Myers has been linked to Carlton today. I talked about it in the video that was released yesterday. If you haven't watched it, guys, watch it. I mean, he doesn't, but my brother doesn't. Maybe you can. Give me an extra review. But Brian Myers has struggled to make the AFL team at times this year. He looks like he's going to get back into the AFL team this week, but it's very interesting that this guy was, I mean, you look at how good Murphy Reed's been playing this year and how how much he has just changed Fremantle's team in 2 years, basically, since coming in. He's an elite kick inside the forward 50, and we've seen those players that can have 20 or 30 touches and just have 10 score involvements, and basically it makes your team a middle-of-the-rung sort of 6th to 8th team to a team that's contending for a premiership.
Yeah.
And now Brian Myers can't find himself in the team.
Yeah, well, there was earlier this season with his suspected ACL injury, and and everyone's speculating, or is it or not, and stuff like that, and it's if it's a soft drop, and didn't want to just say you're completely dropped and make it huge headlines and stuff like that. So it is very interesting to why he has not played much AFL this year, and last 2 or 3 years, he's been one of the most goal assist players in the game.
Yeah, one of the best players going inside the forward 50.
Yeah.
Every single time he touched it, he was, from 50 to 80 out, you're like, oh, fuck, this is hitting someone's chest inside the forward 50.
Exactly. So it's very interesting, and, with him being in the VFL, there are going to be teams that know that he at the AFL level, he's good.
Yeah.
And that he can be he can be maybe a top 5 player for your club.
Yeah.
In your team. So, and it's someone like a Carlton that would maybe work for him.
Oh, they would love him. I mean, how many... I mean, we've said for years that they are just a team that bombs high and long, kicks on top of their key forwards and do nothing with it. Now, look at... I mean, I know we talked about Charlie Kerno earlier in the episode, but look at how much... I mean, he's the Coleman medal leader right now because he's got some decent kickers to him.
Yeah, so what would they be... What could Carlton offer for him? Well, they've got a lot of picks now, but with the fact of him not being in the side for most of the season, you'd probably look at more of a second rounder. To be honest, a first rounder, you'd be looking for we'll look at it in Carlton, Geelong wise. So Carlton would probably be a second rounder because of where they are.
Yeah.
Because
I think you definitely have to have that as a starting point, but I don't think.
But that's what they'd probably offer at first, because they're like, he's been in the VFL all season. He's suspected of having an ACL, but don't play him.
Yeah.
The end of the day it probably be looking more of a... Because they probably don't want to use any of their points this season. So it'll probably be a future pick for it because of that reason. And it might be ending up being a future first. Yeah. Or it would probably be more of a player, I reckon.
You think a player?
I reckon
maybe an Adam Sard. He hasn't played a lot of games this year for Carlton. I mean, I think Geelong...
They love experienced players.
Yeah.
So, maybe a him, or maybe, I don't know, a George Hewitt, another midfielder.
Yeah, I mean, they do need some help in there, I think, at times.
Yeah, so a bit of grunt, a bit more, grunt, or so they don't have the everyone needs with the Tom Atkins and all that they've got there. So you never know. They might
Would you think Port Adelaide go and take a crack at him?
Graham Myers.
Yes.
Probably not. I think he's a player that would be staying in Victoria.
Yeah, I'm saying, would you give him a crack?
He'd be looking at Victorian clubs and
I mean, if the Sydney Swans want to throw some money at him, I wouldn't say no.
Yeah.
I'd be saying, look, go for him, headstrong.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that you're probably right. I think you probably look Victoria for a look. But yeah, I thought that was a very interesting rumour that it came out. I mean, it doesn't surprise me too much because he has struggled to get game time this year. But
we've seen what he can do.
Yeah, exactly. And like I mentioned with Murphy Reid, like he's been a revelation for Fremantle. He was so good even just last year, Brian Myers. So yeah, I mean, I can see why it came up. But